I like my job. It keeps me busy. Maybe too busy. See, I'm a reporter. I cover stories. Today I'm starting a story on drilling exploration and search for energy. Oil and natural gas, that is.
Coffee. Oh, I need coffee.
That's a good thing, too, because I'm having a hard time finding my energy level this morning. It never occurred to me until recently, but petroleum and natural gas products are very important to our daily lives. You know, flip a switch, pull a lever. But is it really that easy? I can turn a knob and cook a killer omelet. I can even drink out of the plastic milk carton, thanks to petroleum.
Oh, it's 95.
What would it be like without these products? And for one thing, I'd probably be a lot hairier. Can't use a blade razor. Sensitive skin.
Great.
Anyway, whatever reason, I'm asking the question, how exactly does energy exploration work? How do we find a barrel of oil or a cubic foot of natural gas? Funny, that's exactly what my boss said. Then he told me to find out. And make it quick, son. The news waits on no one. Yeah, petroleum's in the pharmaceutical business, which is a good thing, because I've already got a doozy of a headache.
Well, that's 85.
So, back to business. After a slight delay, we're on the road to find out what it actually takes to find these precious resources. Our journey begins at what I describe as a normal-looking office building, an oil and natural gas production company. After passing an extensive security check...
Hello. So there's probably not a gun or anything in it.
Don't say gun.
I got a steel plate in my head. It's a kitchen appliance accident.
We were issued badges and escorted to someone called a team leader.
So, this is Command Central, huh?
Sorta. I lead a group called an asset team. It's made up of about 7 people, each handling a different area of responsibility.
So I'll bet they call you like...
General Glinda.
No. I help coordinate and make sure everything is moving along. We think it's important to build strong teams that communicate.
It's nice. You know, tell me, how do you know where to drill?
Funny you should ask that. I'm going to let our geologist explain it. They're down the hall, 3rd door on the right.
Down the hall, 3 doors to the right. 3 doors. Okay, thank you. It was so good to see you, Glenn. 3 doors, down the hall to the right. 1, 3 doors.
A geologist. Now I'm cooking with gas. A person who actually has rocks in their head, so to speak.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Are you the rock detective?
Well, yeah, I guess you could call me that. Come on in.
I just need to... What do you do exactly?
Basically, my job is looking for different formations of rock and trying to calculate where the oil and natural gas is.
So you read rocks?
Sure.
Right.
By understanding the rocks and sediment formations of the past, the insights we learn help lead us to areas that have the best chance of finding oil and natural gas.
So, all day, you play Sherlock Holmes looking for clues.
Well,
it really wasn't funny, was it?
Yeah, well, basically, but my job's more about understanding the earth and its processes and then being creative with that information. That means finding the best place to spud a well, drilling to the profitable formation, hit my TD and make a profitable well.
So what do touchdowns and potatoes have to do with your job?
Well, that's just drilling jargon. It's slang stuff.
It was just like, gotcha.
TD means total depth of the well, and spudding means starting to drill the well. Now, since I wasn't there a million years ago, all I can do is take the information available through rocks, well logs, and seismic data, then try to predict where the oil and natural gas are located.
Predict? You can tell the future? Can you read minds? What am I thinking? Or do you use the magic 8 ball? Will there be a well this week?
It's not like that. I mean, we calculate as precisely as we can. And see, nowadays we drill a lot deeper, so we use a lot of geological data and 3D seismic to see those depths and make better predictions. Now, as a geologist, I have to coordinate with personnel in the field and at the office. The geophysicists, the engineers, the landman, the safety and environmental guys, the mud loggers, and the drilling foreman, basically the whole team. Well, as a matter of fact, this is Derek. He's a geologist. He's a part of our team as well.
Hello, Derek. Mark David, Action News.
How you
Good. So you guys must have a pretty high success rate here, huh?
We tried, but it's still risky. Did you know that only 1 out of 5 wells drilled in the United States actually discovers oil or natural gas?
What do you find the rest of the time?
Saltwater. You know, scientists believe that this area was covered by the ocean millions of years ago.
Hey, you guys got any big tuna down there? Because you know I'm a big fisherman.
I gotta go.
Well, no tuna, but hopefully natural gas and oil. Watch this. As we strip away sections of the earth, you can see layers of sedimentary rock. These formations can be miles below the Earth's surface, and the petroleum is actually trapped in these layers. As we magnify this area, you can see petroleum trapped in tiny holes called pores.
Wow, that's deep. So what happens if you strike out?
Well, all the money spent drilling is lost when it doesn't pan out.
Wow, talk about job security.
Now, it's time to talk to our geophysicist. He's the team member that provides me with all the seismic data. He's out on location today. You want to go out and check it out for yourself?
I am game, girlfriend.
I was given directions to a remote location where I found the geophysicist standing next to a strange-looking vehicle.
Hey, Mark David, Action News.
Hi, I'm Paul McColgan. I'm the geophysicist for this project.
I'm good to meet you, Paul. Those are some nice wheels. What are they used for?
Well, these are actually called thumper trucks, or rather vibra-size units.
Vibra-size units?
Well, we use it during a seismic survey. Send sound waves below the Earth's surface by thumping the ground. We can also perform a seismic survey by using explosive charges underground to create sound waves if a truck isn't available.
Explosives? I mean, isn't that kind of a big boom type of thing?
Well, no, usually it's just a low rumble and a slight ground shake.
I bet you escape a lot of earthworms doing that type of deal.
Well, probably, but basically the process works like this. Let's go take a look at my laptop. I had a couple programs running on my laptop this morning, so it's already on. Here, take a look. Here's a cross-section of the land showing a thumper truck on the surface of the land above several buried rock layers. The thumper truck sends sound waves underground. Each time the waves hit a new layer of rock, some of the waves are reflected back up to the surface, and some of the waves continue traveling downward. When the waves are reflected, the data is collected on the surface by geophones and recorded by a computer. Okay, seismic in simpler terms. Basically, seismic is similar to that of sonar or on a ship. Usually you detect submarine.
U-boat. Bring her down, Captain.
That's right. So basically what happens is the ship will emit a ping of sound below the surface of the ocean.
It's like a ping.
That's right.
Same.
That's a ping that you hear all the time.
Okay.
That ping will reflect off the hull of the ship and reflect back up to the surface where the ship records it. Now, from all the data that the ship's recorded, they can tell basically about how big the submarine is and exactly where it is. In seismology, what we're doing is basically the same thing. We emit sound below the surface of the Earth, and every time the sound wave goes through and encounters a new rock layer, part of the energy is reflected back to the surface and is recorded by the geophones on the surface, and the rest of the energy continues on through the ground. And we use that kind of information to detect what kind of densities there are and velocities of the rock.
Wow. I mean, I'm feeling pretty dense myself. Seismology and gramophones are pretty Einstein stuff. Yeah. I mean, Albert Einstein.
Today, we can record a lot more data than we used to. Now with computers, we're able to do a lot of our stuff in three-dimensional imaging. So instead of looking at seismic lines, we study 3D shapes to help determine a drill site. We even get to use these special 3D glasses. The bad thing is you look like a dork wearing them.
Paul, that's a lot of good information. I think we're ready to get our little soundbite here if you're all game. You ready?
Sure. All right. Let's shoot the Dale. Paul McColgan. 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 That is McColgan. All right. All right.
Just got to get warmed up, get the vocal.
All right. Here we go in 3,
Mark David here for Action News with Paul Nicole. Ooh, this never happens. Hello?
Linda here, just checking in. Do you understand the geology and geophysics of drilling now? Are we taxing your brain?
I think so. So what, now do we drill?
Well, we can't yet. Now we have to determine if it's economically feasible to drill. There are a couple of guys you need to meet. Come on back to the office and I'll set it up. See ya.
I'm on my way. Please be on your best behavior. These are the bean counters. Beans. I love beans. Beans, the magical fruit.
Mark David here for Action News. I'm here outside of the office of Reservoir Engineer Chris McCarthy, a.k.a. the Money Man, the dude with the dough. Let's see how it shakes down, takes down, makes a breakdown. Mark David, Action News. It's a pleasure and a challenge to meet you.
A challenge? I don't know if that's a compliment or an insult.
Shush. Let's have a talk. Okay. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but it is you who either red lights or green lights every single project. You. Is that correct? You, correct?
I don't know if I'd say every single project. I take the area that we chose to drill, how much it's going to cost to drill the well, how much it's going to cost to complete the well for production, and decide if it makes economic sense.
So in essence, it is you who has all the power. You. Linger? Okay, now I can move on.
Well, I don't know if I'd say all the power. If it doesn't make economic sense, then we just have no reason to drill it. We have to look at how much oil and gas is actually down there, how long it'll take to recover it, what the price is at the moment and what the price will be in the future, not to mention the taxes, securing the leases, and the mineral rights. Every cost needs to be analyzed to see if it's worth the risk.
So mineral rights, what exactly are those?
If you want to learn more about the mineral rights, maybe you should go talk to the landman.
Landman.
The landman. We got a few of them out there scattered throughout the state.
And how would I find the landman?
I have a few of them marked here on the map if you want to go find one.
Groovy and gravy. All right. Well, this is Mark David signing off for now as I go find the landman, the man of the land, the Grizzly Adams of the new millennium, and we're out of here. Bye, chica. Crow feet, peace. So off we go again, tracking down the landman. A turn here, a dirt road there, a little help from the neighbors.
Can you help me get to Highway 7?
It was an adventure, and guess where I found the landman? On somebody's land. Imagine that.
Hi, are you the landman?
Yes, I'm Chip. How are you?
Good to meet you, Chip. You must be the landowner? Good to meet you, sir. And we are here doing a story on the oil and natural gas process. Wondering if you could maybe fill me in on exactly what does a landman do?
Since we don't own the rights below the surface we've targeted to drill, we have to secure permission to drill from the mineral owners before we can start.
Oh, I see. So you negotiate the whole win-win situation.
Well, I'd like to think that we both end up benefiting from the deal, yes.
I'll tell you what, how about you just give me like the Cliff Notes version of this?
Well, first I research who owns the land and the mineral rights, and in most cases there's several mineral or royalty owners, and we also have to work with the surface owners so that we can drill on the land. The goal is to negotiate a fair price, the win-win situation.
Sounds like you got a rough job.
Well, not really, but it does take time to track down all the owners. Speaking of which, I'm supposed to send you over here to meet the drilling engineer.
Another map. Okay, well, boy, there's a lot to this process, isn't there?
Good luck.
We'll be on our way up.
So, back on the road again. There's a lot of work that goes into searching for energy. Right now, I'm starting to feel like I'm on a scavenger hunt. Only I'm not looking for pink flamingos, but a drilling engineer. Another part of the energy puzzle.
No, that's the guy. That's the guy right there. Yep, stop. Stop the van. Thank you. Hey!
Oh.
Are you the operations engineer?
No, sir, I'm the health and safety director. I've been expecting you.
Oh, I'll bet you have. What do you do?
I make sure the operation is in compliance with regulations and make sure that everything goes by the book.
Yeah, I guess you could get pretty hurt out here if you didn't know what you were doing. We definitely fit that profile.
No, you guys, we take safety very seriously out here. Need hard hats, safety glasses. We gotta get you some steel-toe boots, too. Everyone must obey the regulations. You're gonna have to lose that tie. Follow me.
All right, ready? Let's roll. 3, 2, 1. Hi, I'm Mark David. I'm here on drilling location. Got my steel-toed boots, got my goggles, got my hard hat, and I'm here with drilling engineer Jeff Day. Jeff, what do we got going on over there?
Well, Mark, we're getting ready to drill a well. The first step we got to do is survey the site, prepare the location, and make sure the drilling personnel and equipment have easy access.
So you got to build some roads and bring in the porta-johns, huh?
Yeah, we're going to build some roads, grade the land, and establish our environmental practices. Then we're going to put together an office area and other facilities.
And are you ready to start digging?
Well, we're getting ready to spud one right now.
Spud the well, like, you know, potatoes underground. I mean, start the well. Seems starting to get it.
No, Mark, what we do is we bring a special truck in here that's got an auger on it. We use an auger to drill a wide, shallow hole in the ground called a conductor hole.
Oh, kind of like a pilot hole.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like a pilot hole, and we cement a large steel pipe in the ground, and what that does, it prevents the soft rock on the surface from caving into the wellbore. After we get that done, we drill what we call a rat hole and a mouse hole. What we use these two holes for is to store pipe in place so that we can go ahead and make connections, which we do in the drilling process. Anyway, I tell you what, we got one running a couple miles from here, another rig. Let's go take a look at it. You know, time is money.
Okay, great. This is Mark David. We're going to head out to the next place. Back to you, Stephen.
Tell you what, I'll meet you over at the truck.
All right, no, I'll be there in a second. Rat hole, mouse hole, what do you think? How many holes are there? Can I give this to somebody? Okay, time out. I've almost lost track of all the holes that need to be dug for a well. Conductor holes, rat holes, mouse holes. Sounds like I need to dive into a foxhole. What's next?
On this location, we're preparing to rig up.
So do I need a tool belt? I already got the helmet.
No, we'll just watch. So even though these rigs weigh hundreds of tons, they're movable. So they can be taken apart, then moved to a different location, put back together again to drill another well.
So it's like those Happy Meal toys. You can like snap them open and then you put them back together. It's like a robot. No, it's a house or a car or like Lincoln Logs. It's not like any of those. It's like an erector set.
Well, kinda. But there are no toys here.
Well, no, I didn't think
so the rig's modular in design, and so then it's assembled by the rig crew and kind of pinned together with these strong pins.
Strong pins.
And then the most recognizable part of the rig, that big steel tower called a derrick, is pivoted up into place. And this brace back here behind me is used to support the derrick when it's laid over. Let's go over to another site and I'll show you the actual drilling in progress.
All right. What's that? Whoa. Dude, that is one tall tower.
Well, some of them are even bigger than this one. This one's about 120 feet tall. That's about 12 stories high.
Dang.
See, they've got to be big to support the weight of the drill pipe and the tools.
Sure.
Today's drilling process is called rotary drilling. That's because there's a long line of pipe with a drill bit on bottom that's rotated deep in the ground, cutting through layers of rock.
Layers of sediment rock. I remember that.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
I remember.
You know, it takes a lot of equipment and power to make one of these rigs work.
Okay.
Let's go get a closer look. Let's go over this one.
Dude, we need that super big wide big dog lens.
Just keep shooting. You're getting great stuff.
It takes a lot of power to drill 3 miles deep. We're gonna go out here and I'll show you where we generate all that power. Here you go. You're gonna need these where we're going. Now, Mark, this is what we call a bit.
You know, I got bit by a dolphin once because my pores secrete.
Not that kind of a
salmon.
bite. Okay, a bit. Okay, and we screw these on the end of the drill string.
I see.
And as we turn the drill string,
okay,
the bit cuts the rock and crushes the rock, and that's how we drill. And you can see there's 3 of them here.
Yeah,
the one here is for the softest rock we drill.
So it's silver.
The one in the middle would be for an intermediate type rock, and then the one here on this end is what we call a tungsten carbide bit.
Which removes plaque.
Well, no, tungsten carbide is what we drill with when we're in hard rock. Tungsten,
I see, yeah.
Tungsten is the second the hardest thing known to man.
Second, and the first will be algebra.
Would be diamond.
Diamonds. Okay. I was going to say.
Would be diamond, and as we rotate the bit, the cone turns, and then the tungsten tooth crushes the rock, and we circulate that rock out of the well with the mud, and that's how we drill it
out of there. You ever like? What else you got?
Come on, let's go see some drill bits in action.
Can I get one of those to take home?
After you, gentlemen.
No elevator or escalator?
Nope.
Just a billion steps?
That's it, Mark.
Here, let me help you with some of that.
Your partner's a lot of help, isn't he?
Wow. This is pretty impressive. What's going on here?
Well, as the drill bit is drilled deeper into the ground, the roughnecks add new sections of pipe. This is called making a connection.
It's like that reality dating show.
And each joint of pipe's about 30 feet long, and it's very heavy. That's the reason the derrick and its hoisting system are vital components of the drilling rig. The hoisting system on the drilling rig is used to raise and lower equipment in and out of the well. All right? Now, it consists of the drawworks, the crown block, the derrick, and the traveling block.
It's heavy. And I know it's loud.
It's very loud.
It is.
Okay, and it's all run with the prime movers, which we've seen down below.
Sounds like multi-level marketing.
It's not quite.
Okay. So this is how they move the drill string around.
That's right. Yes, sir. By reeling in the steel rope, the roughnecks can raise and lower the equipment, which we do quite often.
How do you know that you're drilling the well straight?
We measure for it, okay? We use a technique called directional drilling. Let me check with the directional tech downstairs, Brian, and he might be able to explain it a bit better than me.
Great. Excellent.
Jeff or Brian?
Roger, Jeff. This is Brian. How can I help you?
Yeah, I got the Action News up here on the rig floor. Anyway, they would like to know about directional drilling. Do you have a minute?
Bring them down. I'll show them the process.
Thanks.
Back down?
Back down.
Do you have any oxygen tablets?
No, we don't, Mark.
Ibuprofen? Magazine? Anything?
Hey. Good afternoon. Mark David, Action News.
I'm Brian Broy with Marathon.
Excellent. What do you got going here?
Have you ever heard of directional drilling?
Directional? No. I could use some directional guidance, though, if it's just meaning, just talk me through it.
It might be easier to show you. Come on over, have a look. We can pinpoint a small area thousands of feet below the surface. This is the target that our geoscientists and reservoir engineers think has a good chance of finding oil and gas. We drill down and veer off to hit it, usually within a few feet of our target. We can even drill horizontally if we need to. This is possible by sending probes with accelerometers and gravitometers into the wellbore that measure the direction the hole we're drilling is traveling.
So it sounds like a guided missile, huh?
Well, that's it in a nutshell. Measuring inclination or angle and direction of the hole and adjusting our drilling so that we guide the wellbore to hit the specific pay zone.
All right, I get it. Good. Figuring it all out. I bet you're really glad to have these computers, you know, for all the calculations.
Absolutely.
I have a Casio. Okay, so tell me, how do you get the crushed rock from out of that hole? You know, how do you keep it from getting clogged up?
That's easy, Mark. What we do is we pump a thick liquid called drilling mud down the drill pipe.
Drilling mud? You know what? I saw that up on the rig.
That's right.
Tell me a little bit more about that.
The drilling mud we keep in these tanks over here, these round tanks. That's where we store it. And we use these big blue units behind me that are mud pumps.
Okay.
So they pump it down the wellbore. Basically, it's hydraulics in action. Excellent. I've got something over here in my truck that might simplify things for you a bit better.
Certainly. Okay, let's head over there.
As you can see, mud is pumped down the drill string. The mud jets out of the bit and into the wellbore where it helps lubricate and cool the bit. As the mud flows back up between the drill string and the inside of the hole, it picks up the rock cuttings and carries them to the surface.
Okay, so what happens once you get the cuttings out of the hole, Jeff?
Come with me and I'll show you.
More stairs?
More stairs.
Had a feeling.
Initializing hard drive. All data will be lost in 3, 2, 1.
Not the best view coming up these stairs, Jeff.
Now the mud is run across a series of vibrating screens that separate the rock cuttings from the liquid. That way we can reuse the drilling mud. Okay. This is also where the mud logger collects his rock cutting samples so he can send in periodic reports to the geologist.
Okay, but what I want to know is, like, who's the lucky guy who gets to mix the mud?
Well, usually it's a roughneck.
Sounds like the guy who used to ram my head into the locker in high school.
This is a really nice guy. Would you like to meet him?
Yeah, I'm sure he's a really nice guy. Okay, yeah, let's check him out. Come on. Mark David here again for Action News, and I'm about to interview myself a genuine roughneck. Bill, tell me what it is that you do here on the big rig.
Well, my job is maintaining the drilling mud here. I mix up the mud in these big hoppers, and then we check to see if we need to put any additives or different kind of mud in it, depending on the specifications of the rock that we're drilling into.
I think what we really want to know here, Bill, is do you ever take off your shoes, mix it with your feet, and, squish the mud in between your toes for that oh-so-fresh feeling, or, put it on the face, clean out the pores? Ever?
No, we pretty much have to do it according to the specs of these big hoppers. The pressure's monitored on the drilling floor, and then the mud engineer, he checks the weight and viscosity and combination of chemicals to determine what it is we need to do if we need to make any corrections.
So you don't ever make mud pies or have a mud fight or make mud angels?
No, there's a lot of money on the line here, and every job is important to the success of this well.
You're a pretty serious guy there, Bill. What high school did you go to?
Can we cut? Jeff? Let's see if he's awake.
Come on in. Welcome to the
hello.
Mud Logger Shack.
Hey, Mud Logger.
Yes, sir.
So you study mud?
Not exactly.
Okay.
I catch the cuttings that come out of the well bore, bring them down here, clean them up a little bit, then bring them in here and analyze them for rock structure. Take a look at what formation we're in, correlate to what depth, because that's real vital information for the geologist. What I do is I bring the samples in, I'll take a look at them under this microscope, kind of tell exactly what formation it is, and then I'll hit them with this black light.
Black light!
Because hydrocarbon-bearing rock will actually glow green under a black light.
Oh yeah, I know what a black light is. I know all about the black lights. Wow, wow. Yeah, kind of thing. Okay, so let's just say that they've already drilled the well, and the rock samples contain oil and natural gas. How do you know it's going to be a producer and not just kind of fizzle out?
Well, I can't tell that from here. All I can tell is that there's hydrocarbons present. You need to talk to the well loggers to see how much is there.
Well loggers. More loggers. Okay.
Mud loggers, well loggers, drilling engineers, geologists, mud engineers, geophysicists, roughnecks. Drilling a well clearly takes a team of specialists dedicated to their craft.
Hey!
You
You're
okay?
the well logger? Yes. You the well logger?
Yes, sir, I am. Are you
That's
okay?
Great. I'm fine. It's a bit of a heart attack.
What's your story? What's your story? What's your story?
I'm called in near the end of the drilling to determine if the well is going to produce enough product to be worth it.
And how do you do that?
Well, first we send our instruments into the well to collect important information for the company that's drilling the well. The information we collect tells us three things. One, are hydrocarbons down there. Two, if it's wet, meaning if there's salt water in it. Three, what are the characteristics of the rock? Is it shale, limestone, sandstone? And if it's porous or non-porous.
So what kind of gizmos do you send down there?
Highly sophisticated, sensitive instruments.
So you drop a tool down the hole and you just record the results?
Yeah, something like that, but every well is different.
What do you do with the info you collect?
Let's go back to the information trailer, and I'll show you.
Down again?
We send it to our customer via satellite feed, which is transferred to a landline and then winds up on their computer screen so that they can evaluate their data.
Ah, so it's like instant gratification. Yeah.
Speeds things up out here. Time is money. It helps determine the depths of good zones, prepare the wellbore for perforating, and evaluation of the rock to see if it's productive and maybe need fracturing.
Well, fractured, perforating, yeah.
Don't worry, it's okay. They got you set for that tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Oh.
Thank you.
Oh.
That's right. You've only seen the half of it.
There's more?
A lot more. We're going to show you some wells that have been determined to be producers, so we need to show you what happens when the well hits its TD and we start the completion process. Don't forget, you're going to need your safety equipment.
I know. I didn't forget, and I won't. I'm just a little pooped, and I just need to call it a day. So I won't forget.
Sounds good.
Mom.
As I dragged my tired, achy body back to the van, I started thinking about just how much petroleum and natural gas touch our lives. From plastics to medicines, energy to drive our cars, generate electricity, heat our homes, even cook our food. Then as I waved goodbye, it really hit me. The magnitude of hard work and dedication that goes into drilling a single well. Gosh, I was worn out on all I did was observe. I never dreamed it took so many people to drill what I thought was just a hole in the ground. And tomorrow, I'm going to meet even more who helped turn these fossils into fuel. Which reminds me, I need to refuel my belly. I'm running out of gas fast. Bottom line, it takes a lot of energy to actually find energy. I've got to find some energy of my own before tomorrow's adventure. I need to recharge my batteries. Think about it. Gasoline, cooking food, turning on lights, plastics, makeup, medicines. The list goes on and on. Yeah, every day the world consumes vast amounts of oil and natural gas to fuel our lives. We also consume a lot of coffee. It helps fuel our bodies. At least my body. Gotta have my morning coffee. Anyway, oil and natural gas wells are being drilled all over the world. But once these much-needed resources are discovered, what happens? How do they get it out of the ground and to where it needs to go? That's the million-dollar question for day 2 on my story about the industry. That and where the refills of hot coffee are located.
So, how do they get the oil and natural gas from the rock formations thousands of feet underground to me, Mr. Consumer?
Once we know that a well can produce enough to be profitable, we have to complete it and put it online.
Online? What does the internet have to do with this?
What I mean by that is operational. That is producing oil and natural gas at the wellhead and then transporting it to market. I'm going to let you talk to our operations engineer first. He'll be explaining how we stabilize the wellbore for production. That's the first phase of well completion. He's out on the Marshall location. And I just happen to have a map here.
You do? To where we're going? Hey, look, you can see your house. Made you look. All right, come on, we need to go. Thank you so much.
Have a good time.
It's been a real swell time. Oh, just
see ya.
Cold things. Okay, well.
So the Action News team hits the road again. I am getting better at reading maps, I think.
Hey, fellas, which of you might be the operations engineer?
I am. Actually, he is, but I'm his boss.
Okay, Mary Kate and Ashley, we're here from Action News, and we just need to get some info on what it is that you do in the process.
before we start there, Brad, let's go ahead and make sure we get that valve changed out on that production unit.
Okay.
We'll
Take care of that.
All right. See you guys later.
Thanks, Brad. It's much appreciated.
Well, today let's talk about preparing the well for completion.
Great. I'm all ready. My coffee's kicked in. Whew! Sorry.
Once the well's been drilled, the next step is to run the production casing down the hole and cement it in place. At this time, we will install the wellhead. This will come into play when we run the production tubing and install the Christmas tree later.
Okay, for me, this is information overload. I think we're going to need to back up and try
Slow down.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, casing is the pipe, which is run into the hole as structural support for the well itself.
All right.
It works like this. Production casing is nothing more than steel pipe that we screw together and run to the bottom of the wellbore.
Yes.
Once on bottom, we pump liquid cement, similar to concrete but without all the gravel, down the casing.
Okay.
As it exits the casing, it's forced down the bottom of the casing and it's forced up around the outside of the casing between the outer casing wall and the rock formation. Let's go to the production trailer and I'll show you an example on the computer.
Thank you.
Welcome to our on-site operations trailer.
Ah, nice. It's a nice little trailer. And this must be your trailer trash.
Very creative.
Yeah, it's a
very creative.
All right, what you got?
Let me boot this up here real quick and I'll explain to you via the animation what we're discussing outside. Okay, as you can see here, the production casing is being screwed together and run in the hole. Once a casing has reached bottom, or TD, which is also total depth, we then pump a liquid cement. The cement is pumped out the bottom, then it comes up and around the outside of the casing. In actuality, what's happening is the cement is filling the void between the outside of the casing and the rock formations.
Okay, so what keeps the oil and natural gas from just shooting out while you do that?
Well, the hole is filled with a special mud so that the oil and natural gas does not flow to the surface, and the hole itself doesn't cave in.
Okay, but now you blocked off the flow. I mean, what's the point in that?
Good question. We've accomplished 3 critical needs. First, we stabilized the wellbore. Second, we controlled any unwanted flow of oil or natural gas. And lastly, we isolated the different zones within the well, so only the zones we're targeting will produce. This way, we can perforate the wellbore and tap into these different zones individually. This allows us to more effectively stimulate and monitor the production from each zone.
Perforate, zone isolation, sounds like you're a defensive line coach talking.
Well, they're all very critical and important things that occur. Let's get into that discussion a little later. What I'd like to do is have you see it actually in person. I'm going to give Brad a buzz and see if we can get him over here to pick you up.
Okay.
Brad, this is Joe. You meet over at the operations trailer and pick the news crew up?
Yeah, copy, on my way.
Sure.
Roscoe, this is Boss Hog. What's your 20? I just wanted to do that. Is there, Roscoe? I don't want to mess it up.
Nothing.
Now, once the casing is run and the wellhead is installed, then the BOP is installed.
BOP, wasn't that a Michael Jackson song?
Hi. Hello. Maybe I can help. I'm Ron Schaefer, a completion supervisor.
Yeah, good to meet you.
BOP is just short for blowout preventer. It's that bottom piece of equipment there on the bottom, the red right above the black piece there.
I see it.
And it's installed prior to us going in to log or perforate the well to find and produce the zones of interest that we're interested in.
So does that keep you from like getting a gusher like in the old days? You know, like when you drink milk too fast, spaghetti comes out your nose, one of those kind of deals?
Yes, sir, absolutely. Once the BOPs are installed and tested, we are ready to begin our case tow logging operations.
Excuse me?
This is an electric line that is connected to a specialized tool that is sent down hole to help us in locating the depths and intervals of the oil and natural gas formations that we are interested in perforating and producing.
Kind of perforating, I've heard that before. What's that about?
Well, we've got a little traveling to do. We have to go to another rig. I'm going to turn you loose on our perforating engineer. You'll get a charge out of his job.
Great, another map. More driving. Thanks, guys.
Charge, huh? My credit cards are already maxed out.
Cement, Lawton, Pumpkin Center, Oklahoma. Mark David here for Action News on site, looking for the chief perforator. Who is that? I don't know, but I think it's one of these two fine gentlemen over here. Excuse me, sir. I'm looking for the chief perforator. Would that be you?
Yes, I've never been called that before, but I'm the logging engineer for this wireline truck.
Okay, well, I've been called a lot of things I didn't think I was. Could you tell me about the perforating process?
Yes, this tool will run in the hole first as a cement bond tool. We'll check the integrity of the cement between the casing and the formation to make sure we get everything sealed off.
So we put that into the ground and that paves the way for the explosives, right?
Correct.
Could you show me some of the explosives?
Yes, just step right over here.
Great, I love that stuff. I used to, set off bottle rockets, and of course there was an accident and they had to call me Stubby. Totally other story. Go ahead.
Okay, this is our expandable perforating gun, and our charges will come out of these scallops right here.
So the bombs come right here?
Yes, they are set off by a shaped charge.
Okay, so what does that do? I mean, you put this underground, you set off explosives. What does that do for the oil business?
Okay, we'll line up, shoot this gun here, and it allows the oil and the natural gas to come out through these perforations out of the formation.
Any other information you might be able to show me?
Yes, I have some dummy charges and some blank pipe up here that we perforated that I could show you.
Great. In the truck?
Yep.
Let's go for it. Excellent. Hey, that's a nice truck.
Thank you.
Red and white, like the Arkansas Razorback? Yeah, it does. It looks kind of like it. It's kind of candy striped truck. Do you have a handle when you drive the truck? I used to watch BJ and the Bear. They had handles, names on the CB. I'm going to get one for myself.
Yeah, this is my mobile office.
And what you got here?
Okay, this thing is a dummy-shaped charge that is out there in that perforating gun.
So these things right here, they can blow through the concrete and the steel?
Yes.
That is unbelievable.
And several more inches past that.
Okay, well now what's this piece?
Okay, this here is a piece of steel that one of these charges has gone off through. That puts a pretty impressive hole in, right?
Yeah, I had a burrito do that to me once. Now, what were you going to show me on the laptop?
Okay, we have some animation over here that I can show you.
Okay.
Initiating animation process.
Once the gun is lined up properly in the casing, explosive charges are fired from the control panel on the truck. Power is sent down the gun to detonate the charge. Explosives burn a hole through the steel and cement into the rock formation. This allows the oil and natural gas to flow into the production casing.
Excellent. I think I'm really starting to get it there.
Great, Mark. Here, let me get this. Hello? Yeah. He's still over here. Yeah, Joe, I can send him over to you. Okay, bye. Joan needs to see you over at the production trailer, Mark.
And that would be my cue for Mark David, signing off. Back to you. Joe.
Mark, you're back.
Yes, my front tube.
We just completed running tubing in a well that was naturally completed.
Well, now you've already got casing in the well. Why do you need more pipe?
Well, production tubing is used to assist the well to flow. As you can see, we position the tubing to optimize the flow rate. Once the tubing is in place and the Christmas tree is flanged up to the wellhead, we can force the production to flow up through the center of the tubing instead of up the casing.
Ah, okay. So now what?
Then we attach the tubing to the Christmas tree. This is the Christmas tree.
All right, there's bound to be some cool explanation for why they call this a Christmas tree, right?
Well, in actuality, this is called a Christmas tree because typically there's valves on the bottom which are larger than the valves at the top, which then causes this to come up to a taper. Looks somewhat like a triangle and therefore a Christmas tree. The way that this is set up, the tree itself serves the purpose of well control. The number of different valves that are located each serve a different purpose. You have master valves, wing valves, and what's known as a swab valve. Each one of these valves serve a different purpose and obviously are used for controlling the well.
That's it? There's no, cool story?
Unfortunately not. This is a very serious piece of equipment that should only be operated by trained professionals.
Okay, so then do we just back up the truck and start loading up the oil and natural gas? Is that what we do?
Well, no, it's never that simple. Most wells require stimulation to flow.
Now, what do you mean by stimulation?
Stimulation would include hydraulic fracturing, possibly some swabbing. Then also we need to discuss production facilities and transport procedures.
What are we waiting for? We're burning daylight.
Well, we got a frac job on another location. Let's go.
Yeah, let's do it.
Go.
Cool. Did I just say cool? How do we get a cow to move? You know what I think works? They like milk.
Well, it's obvious that it takes a lot of energy to find energy. It also takes a lot of equipment and moolah.
Gentlemen, hi, Mark David, Action News.
Jeff Pellis, Marathon Oil.
Jeff, good to meet you. I'm looking for somebody who can counsel me on the finer art of well stimulation.
Well, I'm the production engineer for this area, so I guess I'm qualified to do that.
Excellent. So what you got going on here?
Well, we're getting rigged up to do a frac job today.
What's a frac job?
Well, frac is short for fracture stimulation. We stimulate the well because we're not happy with the oil and gas we're getting out of it today and want to improve it.
So how do you fracture rocks that are like thousands of feet below you, right?
Come on into the command center and we'll show you.
Ooh, command center. It's a field trip.
Wow. Be around.
Looks like a rocket control center in here.
We monitor all the pressures and rates on these screens and all the additives we're adding to the frac job today. It just tells us what's going on.
Fancy.
And over here we got some animation to help explain better what we're doing today.
Man, you guys are animation.
We pump a specially blended liquid down the tubing or casing and through the perforations. The pumps we use create a large amount of pressure at very high flow rates. Continued pumping causes the formations to crack or fracture. We also add a fine-grained sand or similar material to the fracturing fluid. The sand enters the fracture in the formation along with the fluid. When we stop the pumps, the pressure dissipates. With the pressure gone, the fracture tries to close. But the sand holds the fracture open. The propped open fracture provides a larger passage for hydrocarbons to flow into the wellbore.
Wait, so you crack open the rocks and then you pack them with sand? Are you kidding me?
No, I'm serious. Without the sand, the cracks would close because all the rock layers above it, from the pressure from those rock layers. And the sand's real porous, so it provides a great avenue for the oil and gas to flow back to the well from.
Porous. Learned that already. Okay, so tell me a little bit about the kind of pressure you use to bust open these rocks. I mean, it must be pretty high. Pressure.
Yeah, today we're pumping at pressures approaching 7,000 psi.
PSI?
Pounds per square inch.
Oh, PS. Pounds. Okay.
And I guess you could say a 7,000 pounds per square inch stream could lift a pickup off the ground.
Pickup truck?
These pressures are extremely dangerous. We have to scrutinize the job design and check our lines before each and every job to make sure there's no wear and tear.
Yeah, I guess better safe than sorry, you know, when you're talking about that kind of pressure, right?
That's right. We're all about safety out here.
Oh, yeah. Ow. Oh, phone. What?
Hello? Yeah, Glenda, Mark's right here. It's for you.
Hello?
Hey Mark, Glenda here. We just happen to have a swabbing job in the works at another location not far from you.
And what, swabbing?
Well, John will give you directions. Yeah, and guess what? I think he has a map.
Okay, I'll find out.
Okay, well have fun.
Another map.
So we're near the world's largest macrame dinosaur.
Right here. We're trying to get right here. Up, you say?
You must be the reporter from Action News.
Oh, yeah, hey, news travels fast. You know, news, traveling for news. What gave me away? The cameraman? Hi, Brad. Hi.
No, your dress slacks.
Okay, so tell me this. Where are the pirates? See, because we're swabbing.
No.
The rig.
No, there are no pirates out here.
There's no pirates.
Swabbing is an operation that's used when you have a well that will not flow naturally.
Yes.
When the producing formation doesn't have enough pressure to force the fluid to flow to the surface.
Right.
The oil and natural gas is being held back by hydrostatic pressure.
Hydrostatic pressure.
Right.
Hydrostatic pressure is what I was thinking. But that doesn't really answer my question. How do you swab a well?
Let's go check it out.
Okay.
See, swabbing is accomplished with a workover rig like this one. Now, on a workover rig, there's a sand line. It's a metal cable that's wound together and spooled on the top of the rig itself.
Okay.
On the end of this line is a long steel tool called a swab, and it's fitted with some rubber cups. It's about the same size as the production tube you guys have in the truck there.
Rubber cups.
Yeah, swab cups. Okay. Now, on the end of the swab line is a tool that holds the swab cups. The swab allows fluid to pass down through the hole, and when you start out of the hole with the swab, they'll seat horizontally inside the tubing. And this will cause the rubber to swell against the tubing. And you pull the swab with the sand line on the workover rig. The frac fluid, along with any oil and natural gas, is forced up the tubing into the test tanks as the suction pulls it up.
Okay, I heard what you just said, but it sounded like rubber cups, frac jobs, for pushing tanks. Yeah. So if you could like paint a picture, I mean, do you have like a laptop? There's people been showing me like their animation and stuff.
Well, I thought it was self-explanatory, but let's see if let's just try a little visualization.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm a
So
visual
I want you
person.
to close your eyes.
Got it.
And I want you to visualize.
Cheeseburger.
Not that.
Oh.
As the swab tool is run down the hole into the fluid, the cup is collapsed. Once the tool reaches the target zone of the well and the cup is pulled back up, it expands, therefore lifting fluid out of the tubing with suction.
Okay, so what's the point of this?
Well, it's to reduce the amount of frac fluid that's being held on that zone. Therefore, the amount of back pressure will subside and allow the well to flow better.
Well, what do you do with all the stuff when it, comes out of the well?
Well, let me take it from here, Eric. I know you're busy.
Great, glad I could help.
Hey, thanks, Captain.
Sure.
Now, back to the fluids.
Of course. We need to do something with all that fluid to recover, so in this circumstance, we're using large portable tanks. We call these frac tanks like those over there.
Frac tank, I saw those before. Okay, so now you've got all the substances flowing smoother, better, it's starting to. What do you do with it after that?
Well, once the production is underway, the oil, water, and natural gas flows out of the perforations into the tubing, through the wellhead, down the flow line, and into a big vessel called a separator. Let's go take a look at all the equipment it takes to process fluids.
Well, I'm more interested in seeing something that brings things together. A separator? Geez, a smooth separator. I had frac fluid once, and what they did is it was after swimming.
All I see is a bunch of beige, because I've been colorblind since birth. Not my birth. When my brother was born, my mother kicked me in the head. So which one is the separator?
Well, this is it right here. Basically, the purpose of the separator is to take the three-phase fluid, which is combined at the wellhead, and separate it into its three parts. As explained, the gas and fluids flow into the separator. Since natural gas is lighter than liquid, it rises to the top where it can be measured and transported through a natural gas pipeline.
Now, so how does a separator work? I always heard that oil and water don't mix.
Well, it's a bit more complicated than that, I'm afraid. It goes through a device called the heater treater. Well, this is the heater treater unit. In this case, the heat inside the heater treater helps the oil and water separate and rise to the top.
I see, so then you just skim it off, huh?
Well, like I said, it's now separated and transferred into large metal stock tanks. Once the stock tanks are filled, the oil is sold and sent by tanker trucks or pipeline to the refinery.
Well, then what do you do with the natural gas? I mean, how do you get the natural gas to market, especially if it's a natural gas well?
Well, once accounted for by the gas meters, the gas flows directly into the natural gas pipeline. These pipelines are built and owned by service providers that operate gas plants to further refine the gas. Then, once the natural gas is processed, the service providers sell and transfer the gas all over the country. Over the last 10 years, the network of pipelines has really expanded. A lot of it has to do with the fact that natural gas is such a wonderful product. Clean burning, very abundant. You just have to drill for it and get it to end users.
Okay, so then you just make a connection and just turn it on.
Not quite that simple. After we establish the Christmas tree hookup and the gas has gone through the separator, it still might have a little fluid in it. So, we run it through what we call a stripper.
Well, what does she do?
Well, let me show you.
Okay. Oh, this guy.
This is the stripper unit.
Ah, it's a pretty stripper unit.
Thanks.
Here.
The stripper clears the gas of any remaining fluid.
Okay, well then what?
Well, then the natural gas is metered, so we know how much natural gas is being put into the pipeline. When there, it's pushed along by powerful gas compression motors, which are spaced miles apart along the pipeline.
Okay, so hold on a second. So what happens to the water in the separator process? I mean, does it just evaporate, or what's the deal?
No, the separated water flows in another tank, like those over there.
What are those called?
Tanks.
You're welcome. So what's the water used for? Cheap car washes?
No, not exactly.
Oh.
Believe it or not, it's put back into the ground.
Oh.
The salt water is trucked or pumped to a water disposal well, where it's pumped into a saltwater-bearing rock formation.
So, but all this is environmentally safe?
Yes.
Right?
We wouldn't do anything that damages the environment.
No damage.
We take every precaution to ensure that we protect Mother Nature.
Yeah, oh yeah, Mother Nature, she's my second favorite mother. Hey, you know what I haven't seen yet are those rocking horse head bob kind of things. What are those?
Well, that's a good question. That's a pumping unit. And the purpose of a pump or a pumping unit is for artificial lift. See, this comes into play usually once the oil reservoir has been depleted. See, as we produce oil and natural gas from a reservoir, the pressure gets lower and lower.
So it's kind of like when you got an extra thick shake and the straw in it and you're trying to get the bottom, you're like, it's really sucking, get brain freeze.
Yeah,
I just got one now.
All right, I'm better.
Okay.
Is that kind of thing you just can't get to the rest of it?
Sort of like that.
They're good, though.
Yes, they are.
Don't you knock frozen thick shakes.
See, but in the well, though, as the reservoir pressure is reduced, the well no longer has enough energy to flow the production to surface naturally.
And so is that where a pump comes into play then?
Yes, and actually there are many different types. Some are electric operated, some are gas operated. We put a downhole pump in the well, and it's activated from the up and down movement of the pumping unit on surface.
Well, is there any way around here that we can see one of these babies in action?
Sure. I bet we can get Ron Schaefer to style one up for us.
Ron Schaefer. Well, yippee-ki-yay, let's get Ron Schaefer, and that'll be a cut. Where's the camera guy? Dave?
Hey, Mark, I'm ready to roll on this whenever you're ready, so we can just kind of get it ready.
Got a little something on your nose, right?
Go ahead.
Unbelievable. It's huge. You know, I think I saw Madonna ride one of those in her last concert tour.
It's called a mechanical plunger pump.
Okay, please explain before I explode into laughter.
As the pump plunges down, it's causing fluid from the reservoir to enter into the pump chamber. On the upstroke, the fluid in the chamber is forced up the tubing through the flow line and into the separator.
Sounds kind of like a mechanical bucket brigade, right?
So to speak. It functions on a counterbalance system. The weight of the rods in the downhole pump that are attached to the horse's head are countered by the huge weights attached to the arms of the pumping unit.
That's interesting.
And that's because if the counterweights are approximately the same weight as downhole equipment, then it's said to be in balance, and then you can turn it with a relatively small motor.
So now do you send it off to the refinery?
No, not yet. You need to talk to the transport engineer about that. We're getting ready to load some up in a few minutes. Follow me.
All right, let me wrap this up. All right, let's go back to you in the studio. This is Mark David for Action News. We're out of here.
So you're hauling all this oil off to the refinery? Is that what's going on here?
Well, we plan to, but, first we have to test the oil and make sure it's marketable. See, sometimes a little bit of water gets mixed in with the oil, and if it's above a certain percentage, we can't take it. So let's ask the tank tech.
Oh, hi. Mark David, Action News.
I'm Mark Robert.
Hi, Robert. Good to meet you. Hey, Robert, can you tell me, why would there be water in the oil? I mean, if it's already gone through this separator thingamajiggy thing.
Well, sometimes a very small amount of water gets mixed in with the oil. We're just testing to ensure the quality. Plus, we want to check the gravity to determine the weight of the oil. Excuse me.
So how does he check all this out?
Well, he takes samples from the tanks and comes down to the truck and puts it in a centrifuge, which separates any sediment or wastewater to the bottom of the test tube. Then we get our percentages.
Okay. Speaking of that, I got a big question. Those tanks, how big are those tanks that hold the oil?
Oh, those are about 300 barrels.
Sheesh. All right, so let's say that this passes the inspection. What's the next step after that?
Well, then it's transported to the refinery, and there it's refined into thousands of products we need and enjoy.
All right, now, where were we?
Yeah, hey, Robert, I got a question. Have you ever had to actually, climb down into those tanks and, clean up in there?
No. We pretty much stay out of there. We leave that to the specially trained maintenance crews.
Oh, yeah, I guess you would have pretty strict safety standards to stick to.
Yes. Now, those tanks are full of fumes.
Yeah.
A spark, even static electricity could ignite the fumes and cause the tanks to explode.
Really? We're going to move the interview over about 100 yards. We're going to go this way.
We're all right.
I'm not kidding. I'm serious. We're going to move it this way.
It's okay.
All right. Well, we'll speed it along then.
Well, back to work, mate.
Thank you, Robert. Wow, it's quite a journey from thousands of feet under the ground to the end user.
Yeah, and quite a bit of money, technology, and trained professionals make it all happen.
Well, thanks for all your help, Brad. No, really, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll always think of you when I have guests.
That's good to know.
See you later.
There's Chickasha.
Oklahoma.
Now from Chickasha, which direction
are we?
Yeah, I got it. With that, I had one last thing to do. Stop back and say goodbye, and thanks for all the hospitality I've been shown. And, of course, one last question. Or two.
Probably going to need a trip out of the hole.
There we go. I can handle that.
All right, take care of it, Bill. Thanks.
Jeff!
Hey, Mark.
Hey.
You had enough?
Just about, but if I could be so bold as to ask just one more question.
Fire away.
What do you do with the well when it's played out? I mean, when you've squeezed everything that you can out of it?
We plug it. See, today's oil and gas industry is all about producing these wells real efficiently. Still, each well's production inevitably slows down over time
until producing the last reserves actually costs more than it's worth. At this point, it's time to plug the well.
Well, it seems like such a sad end to something that's worked so hard. How do you do it? I mean, quickly and painlessly, I hope.
Well, what we do, Mark, is we fill it with cement. Then we cut our surface casing off about 6 foot below the ground level, and we weld a steel plate over the top of it. After that, we bring in earth and bury it, and then we plant grass over the top of it so it won't erode or wash away.
Well, that actually seems kind of nice.
Don't feel like we're just walking away from it. We clear out the area and the land is restored so it can be used for other things. As you can see, the oil and natural gas industry does a whole lot more than just digging a hole and striking oil or natural gas. It takes a lot of preparation and dedication to do the job efficiently.
Pardon the pun, it's kind of like a well-oiled machine, isn't it?
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah.
But the most important thing is the number of jobs that one of these types of operations creates, both within the oil industry and also in the service sector.
Well, like what?
Well, mostly through oil field equipment makers, tool companies, computer and software makers, and chemical manufacturers, to name just a few. You know, even bottled water suppliers. You know, those roughnecks get plenty thirsty working on the rig. See, everyone benefits from our efforts in so many ways. It's our job to keep the oil and natural gas flowing. We simply make our lives easier.
Now, what about the future, Jeff? I mean, you know, we got to run out sometime, right?
Well, there's a lot more oil and gas out there to be found. As technology and science continue to develop, it provides a way for us to go out and explore and produce other resources that maybe right now we can't find. And as these sources become usable and broadly affordable, we'll be the ones to bring them to world markets.
Well, Jeff, thanks for the tour, for answering all our questions. You've been a big help. This is Mark David signing off for Action News. Back to you, Frank. Excellent. Hey, do you mind if I keep the helmet and the safety gear kind of as a souvenir of our adventure?
No problem, Mark.
Excellent.
Consider it our gift.
Thanks, Jeff. It'll make a great lawn mowing hat. Right. All right.
Have a nice day. Be careful.
Come on, man. See you later.
With that last remark, we turned off our camera, loaded up in the van, and started the trip home. I had a story to write. I've learned terms I didn't know existed before.
PSI, genuine roughneck. EOP. Wasn't that a Michael Jackson song? Perforate. Zone isolation. Sounds like your defensive line coach talking. I don't know.
Met people who perform mind-boggling processes and tasks on a routine basis. Oh, and I had to read a lot of maps. Yeah, I experienced an industry that's dedicated to fueling our world. An industry I can now say I have a new respect and gratitude for. Especially each morning when I'm taking a nice, hot shower.